Casey, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So it seems almost every day we have another object being shot down after the Chinese surveillance balloon. We also had 3 other objects, one in Canada and then 2 others. One of them was described as an octagon. What are we seeing here? What's the significance?
What's really happened is very key. These balloons that are coming across the United States and in other parts of the world, South America and others as well, these balloons are today's Pearl Harbor moment. It's very serious, okay? And when I say that, you know, Americans are typically the kind of people that say, hey, listen, I'll believe it when I see it. Those of us who work in counterintelligence have seen this all day, every day for decades of what's going on under the scenes in the CCP's unrestricted warfare strategy to eliminate and destroy the United States and the free world. And so the balloons are, you know, they accomplish several things. Number one, it's psychological warfare because they're entering sovereign territory, sovereign airspace. And those of us that go outside and look at the bright stars and those starry nights, those Texas nights or wherever we are, those are protected by the United States, and no foreign adversary is ever going to penetrate our skies. And they did. And so that's number one, to show weakness and to threaten the United States and say that you're no longer on top. And so you can be rest assured that you watch the news programs throughout China. They're saying, yes, the United States is weak, China is the most powerful, and all that's being used to handle psychological warfare, showing that the United States is weak and the CCP is stronger. The United States is a declining power and the CCP is a rising power, and the only one with the ability to take over and run the world, albeit not a free world, but a Chinese communist world. So this is the aha moment, and it'll go down, I believe, and in my opinion, in history as the aha moment where the American people finally woke up that they're at war. And this is an unrestricted war, unlike any wars in the past. And that's really what that was tracking. Our response, first of all, when the balloons entered our airspace in Alaska on the Aleutian Islands, and then also traveling through North America, and then pausing and hovering and loitering over our nuclear facilities and how we communicate from satellites from those facilities up to our satellites, and then finally out to sea over South Carolina. So the balloons are absolutely military balloons. They are not weather balloons. And I think we also just heard a report that China is saying now that the U.S. has flown 10 balloons over China over the last 10 years. And for those of us who know about technology and capabilities, the U.S. doesn't need to fly balloons. Okay, we've got other things that we can do. In fact, they've even said, the CCP says, balloons are the quiet submarines of the past, but we can launch very destructive payloads from these balloons. That's basically a quote from the Chinese Communist Party, threatening the United States and the free world. So anybody still doing business in China and buying Chinese goods and services, all you're doing is funding the Chinese Communist Party to take over America, your family, your children, your grandchildren. So I would caution Americans to really look for other sources to spend their money. And then secondly, vote people in office, state, federal, local government, that are not infiltrated and subverted by the CCP.
And Casey, zooming in on the balloons section, so we know the first one for sure was a Chinese surveillance balloon, but the other 3 objects, it seems so far, we don't know the countries they come from or exactly what they're used for.
From our counterintelligence, and the weather patterns, look at the jet stream and where the jet stream's coming from. That's really what's directing these balloons. You can absolutely guess where they're coming from. They're all coming from virtually the same place.
And you mentioned that this, is our Pearl Harbor moment. So how should we be responding?
We should respond by not buying Chinese products whatsoever, making sure any of our investments are not investing in China, and staying educated on this subject, educated on unrestricted warfare. Understand that these events that are happening throughout the world, and they'll continue to happen, they'll be more frequent and more serious. that you have to understand it's not the world we lived in 5 years ago. It's not the world we lived in 10 years ago. We have an adversary who wants to take us over. So stay educated, stay alert. If you want more information, a lot of times we hear people say, hey, do you have more detail? Can you give us more detail? So we put that information on our company page on LinkedIn, and you can follow our company page. So we post articles every day connecting the dots on unrestricted warfare.